humans, welcome back to the channel. Today we got a new advanced pro movement guide for you guys coming out that's going to be very helpful for you guys, whether you're on Rebirth Island or Warzone, to help elevate your guys' gameplay. So be sure to get exactly what to be doing alongside the button layout and settings you guys should be running, and let me know in the comment section below if you guys want me to see to break down more of an aiming tutorial and a recoil tutorial I could also do for the video and the channel, as well as maybe even a hand cam. If you enjoyed the video, and only if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you guys are new with this push notifications on so you guys know every single time I upload a new video. I'm trying to get you guys the best at Warzone as possible, so share this video with a friend. Share this video with that one friend who's literally camping in the corner as we speak, sitting on TikTok, not moving, does not know what to slide cancel, crouches around the map. Let's get them better. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out. Now let's jump into the settings. I'm only going to be talking about the settings that are specific for my controller. If you guys want to see my graphics, sound, audio in general, and all the other boring stuff, I do have a previous settings video, so I highly recommend getting into that. But let's go ahead. I play default disabled, and more of the juicy stuff. Dead zone is going to go up just one notch to 0.06. That helps with any stick drift you're going to have your controller. No matter what controller you use, the more wear you put on your controller, especially with that auto attack sprint and just playing as much as I do, you will have a little bit of stick drift. So I just up mine to 0.06, and then we come down to the horizontal and vertical recoil. Sensitivity. Now those I have went up to 6.6, and then I wanted to play a little bit faster. Now you can play a low sense and still play fast, but I wanted to be a little bit more flashier. So what I did was I went to 2020 and I started working my way down to find the juicy spot, which is gonna be 1414 for me. But you need to change your ADS sensitivity on your low zoom and high zoom as well. And by doing that, I went up to 0.75 or down to 0.75 and just 0.10 decibels down on the high zoom, which is at 0.90. That is not going to help more of your movement. That's going to help more of your aim. So as long as you're looking in the right direction, and when you aim down in ADS, your shots should be feeling like as if you were playing on a 6677 sensitivity. So make sure you guys are moving that. Those two categories are just for your aim. We'll go down to controller vibration disabled. We're going to jump all the way to the bottom of tactile sprint, double tap, disabled, enabled, auto attack sprint disabled, and tap. These are all fundamentals that you guys should already know. And if you don't know, this is what's going to basically be the concrete foundation of whether or not you're going to be able to hit those slide cancels. And then down here to the weapons, if you guys want to look at that real quick: standard, enabled, ADS melee, enabled, hold, contextual tap, enabled, and apply all. Those are just standard things I do, but one thing that might be different for you guys is going to be the armor plate behavior. This helps if you're playing claw. I play claw, and if you don't know, I'll have another hand cam video in the future, but that just helps me hit one button and not have to rest my finger there for too long. But now that we got over the settings, let's hop into the fun part. We'll do over a quick little overview of the basics and then get into the advanced techniques. So just like I mentioned before, Warzone movement is all about comboing certain techniques, and then after this we'll also be going over different ways you could use your movement to win these gunfights, alongside clips as well. But the first thing I want to go over is going to be using that slide cancel in different variations. I'll be showing you step 1 and 2. So a regular slide cancel is just a one step slide cancel. That's it. And most people are just using this to travel distance, going further and further, and that's just with your circle and X button. However, a slide cancel variation is to take one around the corner. So a normal player, and this is a small detail, but a detail that if I notice a player doing this, and an enemy, I'll more or less have a little bit more confidence approaching them, because it's a small technique that most players pick up on by themselves. But if you don't, here it is. So you go ahead and slide, cancel, and then look, right? And that is, now we're looking at step 1, 2, and then you shoot 3. While as if you could slide cancel around corners, and the easiest way to do it is you slide, and as you're sliding you cancel when you're already looking this direction. So it's the same movement, it's the same steps, however in one go. So you're gonna slide and then look. So as I'm looking, I slide, look, and then once I'm in the area that I'm gonna look, or I'm about to look, I cancel, which my character stands back up. That's a slide cancel, and now I'm looking in the direction. And you could use this, right, going around corners, right? Instead of like slide canceling and then moving, or just sprinting, right? You now are slide canceling around these corners to get that nastier style movement and something a little bit cleaner. And this is going to help you clear out buildings, clear out those campers, because instead of going in like this, boom, 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 you can now, if I'm looking up the stairs or down the hall, I could slide and then slide around these corners and check those corners. This is a perfect technique to clearing out buildings, checking those corners, and then as well as using that to clear certain areas like the crate area we saw. Advanced technique number 2 is going to be comboing that slide cancel into a bunny hop, and this is very simple. You just go ahead and add the bunny hop as soon as your slide cancel is done. So you go here and then sprint, and then go ahead and jump out. So you have to re-sprint, because if you don't re-sprint, right? If you don't resprint now, you're stuck in this position where you have no movement. And the only reason why slide cancel or bunny hops even work is because you're in that sprinting position. So after you slide cancel, you must hit that sprint button and then go into that bunny hop. Now this technique is a little bit easier when you're like in the middle of a fight, because you want to stay moving as much as possible. And the hardest thing, I guess, would be after the slide cancel, immediately going into that sprint animation, which is the one we see right here. So it's 3 steps: slide cancel, sprint, which that auto attack sprint, make sure you have the settings, because if you ever struggle with this, go back to the settings and make sure you have the exact settings I have on my controller. And then once you're in that sprint animation, and you know you are when your character goes down, you can bunny hop. And you can even look back to the left, to the right. You know, you can look any direction, but that's going to be step number 2, comboing the slide cancel into the bunny hop. Step number 3 is going to be using that slide cancel to get away from certain fights. So most of the time when players are fighting and slide canceling away, they're going to have their back to the player they're fighting. And in most cases, depending on how much time you have from that player, that's going to be good because you'll be able to get away. However, if the player's close, you need to put up a fighting chance. So what I do is I slide, and as I'm sliding, I do a quick 180, and by that, I'm already looking back, but the slide is still in that animation, as you see. And then as I check my back, I cancel and immediately go back into the 180. So real quick, step number 1, sprint. Step number 2, slide, not cancel. So step 1, sprint, slide. Step number 3, turn around. And once that turn is complete, you have 2 options. You're either going to take the fight, which is no cancel, you just start shooting, or instead of that, step number 3, you're going to go ahead and cancel and turn away and keep going. And it all depends on the position you're in the LOS. So 1, 2, and then right here, shoot, or I'll cancel. So I'll show you how it looks when I'm shooting, right? Or if there's no one here, cancel and then run away. And you can keep doing that, right, to keep checking if anyone's chasing you. And if there is, then you take the fight. So it's an easier way than just running with your back out, or like, oh, I'm smart, I slide cancel away. Either way, your back to them, you're gonna die, and you want to, you know, eliminate as many of those choices as possible. All right, now this technique is gonna help you guys win a lot more fights, and it's a perfect area to show you guys. But this is something that's been in Call of Duty for a really, really long time, and most players will pick up on this, and some players will not. But this is called the right-hand side advantage. This actually originated from Gears of War back in the day. Gears of War is a third-person point of view gaming, but there's a character that will always hold his gun to the right, and when you're going up for a close quarter gunfights in Gears of War, you would always have that natural shotgun out. So you had to make sure you're always taking the fight from the right hand side. Call of Duty is a similar way, but instead it's first person. So if there's a player standing, or let's just say right, my goal is to look at this dot right here, and that's where the player is at. Well, I have 2 options, right? I could go ahead and peek from this side, right? But by the time I start to peek to him, right, by the time my crosshairs are over, my whole left side of the body, which is the majority of the character, are now exposed to him. But he'll see that before he even sees my crosshairs. So right about now, my shoulder's starting to peek out, my arm, now my gun. And by then, he already has a second or 2 already ahead of me. Shots already down. I'm already getting weakened, and I'm going to lose that gunfight unless I go for those, you know, perfect headshots. This is called right stand advantage. So by the time I peek out, the first thing that peeks out is my gun. And I can leave more of my body exposed or less exposed, and I can go for that shot, and I can even strafe out of here. While strafing on this side, you see how much longer I have to strafe. This one is a lot easier. This is more of the snaking technique, but standing up and using that right hand side advantage, and it's not as complex. All right, step number 4 is the technique that also has been in Call of Duty for a long time. It's called snaking, and one of the advanced techniques I highly recommend using, and it's exactly what I'm doing right now. So what I'm doing is, let's go ahead and take a look at the position of the bottom right, as that character animation is now going down in the prone position, but as soon as we see him do that, he's now standing back up completely. That is called a snake, and what happens is visually, it messes up the player on how they're looking, and by doing that, instead of my whole body being exposed, depending on the cover, discovery isn't the best, but instead of my whole body being exposed, only part of my body will be exposed because of an in-game glitch. And a lot of players have a hard time doing this. For me, it's a lot easier because I look at the bottom right animation to help you get down the fundamentals at first, and then you'll visually start seeing it more on your screen on how it works. I messed it up right there, but that's called snaking. That's something as simple as holding down the circle button. Once you get in that prone position, canceling it. It's like a slide cancel, but instead you're more of a standing position to prone position, but you also have to repeatedly do it. So it's that circle X long-term combo that's continuously doing. And as well as you can even, if it helps you guys out, push up with the left analog stick onto the cover you're doing, and that might help you put into a sprint position, and it might even look a little faster. And you know that because the gun's going up. So this is what snaking looks like, and this is a lot harder to do, but if you get this down, it's very unfair. In fact, this movement is banned in certain Call of Duties when it comes to the Pro League. And this next technique combos that movement and centering factor of things, but it's a play that not a lot of players will do because it overexposes the body, but it helps you get the faster shot down. And you don't know what I mean is basically if we're right here in a position and there's a player up top, we're ready to start fighting. Now, most players will peek left or right hand side advantage, just like I mentioned. However, in a position where there's elevation and the player has high ground, the best way to approach this fight is not going left, because now my whole body is exposed, not going right because my whole body is exposed unless you're using the right hand side advantage, but based off their elevation, they might have eyes on you completely, and most players will be checking their left and right. A spot that a player will never check if they have the high ground is above them. And this technique is something that's more mindset wise, but when I am high ground, there's no shot I'm gonna start looking up. There's no way. You're going to either look left or right because there's no variation of where they could go. However, what if I told you there was an option? And by doing that, instead of checking right and left, I start to peek backwards and then go for the shot here. And the way for that is up top. I'll show you what it looks like from their point of view. Up top, this character is now instead, checking, was he going left or is he going right? But no way is he going to go up. And although I'm not technically going above high ground, you are now forcing this character up top, the player you're fighting, to look up. Your character to look up, because now instead of going here, he has to go from either right here, which is pretty much point and shoot. From there, it's a lot harder because with that recoil as well, instead of having a whole body to shoot, you start from the toes depending on the recoil. Only certain parts of my body, which is gonna be my upper chest and head, are gonna be exposed alongside my gun. So although I'm on now a head glitch, this player is not. Next technique is using your slide cancel to get in positions where you're now using a head glitch. If you don't know head glitches, it's very simple. What I'm going to do is instead of taking this fight down here, down this lane, and taking all these shots down here or there, if I know a player is down that alleyway, instead of overpeating with right hand side advantage, a easier technique to do if you don't want to go for that is go ahead and slide cancel into some cover and then go for some shots. Because right now only my head is exposed, and then I could combo that snaking technique, right? So I could go slide cancel to snaking, or I could just go for the right hand side advantage. But it's another option that's all situational based on what type of environment you're in. But I want to expose you guys to these techniques such as that head glitch so you guys know exactly when to use it and how to use it. The next movement I want to show you guys is called strafing. Now strafing is very, very easy, but not a lot of players will do it. So when a fight happens, if I slide cancel into a fight, most players will go ahead and slide cancel and then stay idle and shoot, and will most likely push forward or push into the position that they're fighting in. So if a player's right there and they slide cancel, and this is you slide cancel and shoot. Yes, you are moving. Good. That is step one, but you're forgetting step number two. So when you slide cancel into a fight and you strafe, more or less that player is having that tracking down, and they're going to track you and you make it a lot easier for them. However, if you start going in the opposite direction after that slide cancel and after a little bit of a bait of a strafe, although it's not, as difficult depending on how close you are to, go back to tracking your opponent, it's a lot easier for you to go here and then back. And then once you go to left, once you notice that player's missing shots, they'll go ahead and start missing shots. And then once they start hitting shots here, you go to the other way. And then as soon as you get hit, you go left. And then you go right. Now that's a little bit more complex because visually there's a lot going on in this situation. It might be hard for you to pick down, but if you could go ahead and just do here and just go slide cancel, if you could go into the strafe and just go right, left, or a little bit faster depending on the type of gun you have. Also, having the right stock is appropriate. That is the step one you could be doing. And I'll show you guys real quick how it is. Step one, slide cancel into the strafe, go into the other direction that they're shooting already, and then once you start getting shot, cut to the left. Step number 3, cut to the right. Step number 4, 5, 3, 6, 7. All just going left and right. That's something simple as strafing. Okay, this next one is actually one of my favorite techniques that I don't want to show you guys because a lot of players do it, and it's very, very easy to get these kills. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly what not to do. So let's try to keep this video in the down low. But this is called windowing. Now, basically what happens is as I jump through this window, most players will jump. They're in that animation, and then they go here and they sprint. Or they go into here, go into cover, wherever it may be. However, when you are now approaching windows, and I do this unless I'm running away from a fight, you need to go into here, jump, and then immediately back up, right? And you're kind of just checking the environment, and it's not overexposing your body. Yes, you are in that animation. You can maybe do this once or twice. You don't have to repeatedly do it. But by just doing that once, you gather information before you go in there. And then once you see, okay, there's a player up top, I'm going to push from another direction, or there's no one here, then I can go into cover and then push the direction that I know is clear. So that's called windowing, a technique I would only use once. You don't want to use it continuously because if there's someone who has eyes on you, you don't have eyes on them. By the second time you do it, you will die. So if I go here, 1, no one here, okay, 2, I'm in. if I go for a third one or a second one, window, and then now I'm trying to get in, you waste too much time. It's a technique that should be used quickly and very situational based as well. That's called windowing. Now, this next technique I'm about to show you guys is a little bit more complex, but I promise you, and it's a little bit more flashier, and you might not notice the difference, but for the enemy, you will. It's something as simple as adding a 360 when you're jumping cover to cover. I like to call it cover to cover or jumping cover to cover. And the reason for that is visually, if I'm looking at someone jump going ahead from left to right, their character is in an idle position where their character is just kind of floating from left to right. But if I add that little bit of a 360, it's a lot harder to hit those shots. Now it's not a big difference, but it's something although it's not a big difference, it's very easy for you to do yourself. And that's something similar to jumping spot to spot and then adding that 360 and then going from here to here. Now it's a little bit harder to do and you kind of risk that chance, but I do it most of the time if I can hit a jump there on the positions I'm going for, right? And the reason for that is with the sensitivity, it's very quick to do. My character looks a little bit difficult and harder to shoot. But if you can hit those 360s, you can start adding them literally anywhere. If you can actually jump to that spot. And I actually will jump or add them to my slide cancels as I'm moving. But the only thing is by doing that, you got to make sure you hit them. Because if not, it's more of like a punishing thing. Because if I 360 and I don't hit it right, I'm trying to not hit it. You won't, if you're not in the right position, you'll slide cancel, you're in a slide position. But if you notice, I'm like slide canceling very slow versus making sure you hit it and you're going. So you can add those to slide cancels and you can add that cover to cover. Another technique I use, and I actually get this asked a lot when I'm playing Warzone, I do it literally every single time I land, if you guys saw my videos, is as I go to my landing spot, right before I pull my parachute, I'll hold L1 or L1. And by doing that, I now have a visual view instead of me now in just a simple 1 POV. I go for the quick 3 POV to see if there's anyone to my left, right, or anyone landing behind me, because sometimes you hear people landing with you but you can't see them. So right before you pull your parachute, make sure, and then as soon as you cut it instantly, you go ahead and push your L1 so you can get a visual view on whether or not anyone's there near you. All right, now we're going to show you guys a quick gameplay on Rebirth Island using these exact settings and exact movements to it. I think you're going to really enjoy it, especially seeing me play on this 14 cents, how everything flows perfectly fine and how I'm able to hit those shots. If you guys have any questions at all, please let them in the comment section below. I respond to literally every comment. You guys saw my last video, I literally respond to everything. So just make sure you guys leave a like and also comment what's up, and I'll make sure to get back to it. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Enjoy the bomb on Rebirth, and have a good night, guys. Peace.
Like, just dark, maybe. Like, I was just watching Biffle earlier, bro, and I was just thinking, dude, why can I not be this fucking good, bro? I was pissed.
Let me tell you.
I was starting to think, like, dude, gotta be using walls, gotta be using aimbot, no doubt. And I'm 100% right on.
Yeah. No.
Charge set. Now.
I'm coming.
The girl always comes back.
Oh my god, I'm dead. Oh, look. I saw it. You're lying to these people.
Hold on.
Got a loadout drop inbound.
And we're gonna be happy ever after.
What do you mean?
Aim assist through walls? what am I doing? My corner says I'm extra. You only have 8.
Be advised, UAV is bingo fuel. RTV for resupply.
You might have went back up top.
Enemy soldier
Lucky.
incoming.
I just sense that you cracked. You know what I'm saying? I watch you vividly. Somebody drove the precision. on us,
Precision,
that's
yeah,
fine.
I killed
Have a
him.
good look.
Taking shots.
Dude, turn off the soft aim. Dude, you're not even like touching the target. Literally so obvious. Quick open, I'll give you 5.
I have to work my throw nice.
If you clutch this, I'll give you the gawk.
You realize I'm the best in the game, right?
I'm a little bit mad that you deafened. Because, you know.
You realize I'm the best in the game, right?
But it would have been way cooler if you would have let me commentate in your ear.
You realize
practicing.
I'm the best in the game, correct, sir?